acknowledging the pain. Before healing can begin, there has to be truth. Real truth, not the kind you tell other people, but the kind you finally admit to yourself when you're alone and everything gets quiet. Love doesn't just hurt sometimes, it can wound you in places you didn't even know existed. And the mistake many people make is pretending that the pain wasn't that bad, that it didn't affect them, that they're over it because time has passed. Time alone does not heal what you refuse to face. Some of you learned how to survive heartbreak by minimizing it. You say things like, "It wasn't that serious," or "I'm fine now," but your actions tell a different story. You're guarded. You flinch at vulnerability. You question every good thing that comes your way because you're afraid of being hurt again. That is unacknowledged pain showing up in your life. Acknowledging the pain is not weakness. It is courage. It takes strength to say, "That broke me," or "That changed me," or "I gave more than I should have and it cost me." Pain doesn't disappear because you ignore it. It settles into your spirit. It shows up in how you love, how you trust, and how you see yourself. Love-related pain cuts deep because it attacks identity. When someone you love didn't choose you, didn't protect you, didn't value you, the mind starts asking dangerous questions. Was I enough? What did I do wrong? Why wasn't my love sufficient? And if those questions go unanswered, they quietly rewrite your self-worth. Acknowledging the pain means calling it what it is. That was betrayal. That was neglect. That was emotional abandonment. That was being taken for granted. And once you name it, you stop blaming yourself for bleeding. You realize you weren't weak for feeling, you were human. You cannot heal from what you keep denying. Healing begins the moment you stop pretending and start being honest about how deeply it affected you. Understanding the environment of hurt. Once you acknowledge the pain, the next hard truth reveals itself. Pain doesn't just come from an event, it comes from an environment. Hurt is not always a single moment. Often it's a pattern, a space, a relationship dynamic where you slowly learn to accept less than you deserved. An environment of hurt is any place where your emotional wounds are constantly reopened. It's where you explain yourself too much, forgive too quickly, and silence your needs just to keep the peace. It's where you are constantly hoping things will change while knowing deep down they probably won't. Some environments don't scream danger. They whisper it. They look familiar, comfortable. You know how to survive there. And that's the problem. You mistake familiarity for safety. When you stay in an environment that hurts you, your nervous system never relaxes. You're always bracing for impact, always alert, always prepared for disappointment. And you call that love because it's what you learned. But love is not supposed to keep you on edge. Staying connected to the source of your pain, emotionally or physically, keeps the wound active. Every interaction becomes a reminder. Every conversation reopens questions. Every hope that things might change becomes another opportunity to be heard again. And here's the truth most people avoid. You cannot heal in a space that requires you to keep bleeding. You cannot grow where you are constantly shrinking yourself. You cannot regain confidence in a place that taught you to doubt your worth. The environment of hurt conditions you. It teaches you what to tolerate. It convinces you that emotional exhaustion is normal. That love is supposed to hurt. That peace is unrealistic. But that environment didn't just hurt you, it shaped you. And until you understand that, you will keep trying to heal while staying in the very place that made you sick. Healing requires awareness. Awareness says, this dynamic damages me. Awareness says, every time I come back here, I lose a little more of myself. Awareness is painful because it forces you to accept that what you hoped would heal you is actually harming you. And once you understand the environment of your hurt, you stop asking, why can't I heal? And start asking the right question. Why am I still here? Why healing requires distance. Healing is not passive. It is not something that just happens because you want it to. Healing is intentional, and one of the hardest intentions you will ever have to set is distance. Not distance fueled by anger, not distance meant to punish anyone, but distance rooted in self-preservation. You cannot recover while constantly being reminded of what broke you. Distance gives clarity. When you step away from the source of pain, the noise quiets down, the confusion settles. You begin to hear your own thoughts again instead of replaying old arguments, unmet expectations, and unanswered questions. Healing requires space because space allows perspective. When you are too close to what hurt you, you normalize the pain. You start adjusting instead of addressing. You tell yourself, it's not that bad, or I can handle this, when the truth is you are slowly losing yourself. Distance interrupts that pattern. Healing requires distance because wounds need air. Emotional wounds are no different from physical ones. If you keep pressing on them, touching them, reopening them, they cannot close. You don't regain strength by constantly revisiting what weakened you. Distance also forces honesty. When you remove yourself, you begin to see what you were tolerating just to keep a connection alive. You see how much effort you were putting in, how much grace you were extending, how often you were choosing hope over reality. That awareness can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Some people fear distance because they think it means abandonment. But distance is not abandonment. It is boundaries. It is saying, I matter too. It is choosing healing over familiarity, and familiarity, even when it hurts, can be addictive. Distance teaches you that you are capable of surviving without the thing you thought you couldn't live without. It rebuilds your confidence. It reminds you that your peace does not depend on someone else's behavior. And that realization changes everything. Letting go without bitterness. Letting go is often misunderstood. People think letting go means pretending it didn't hurt, or acting like it didn't matter, or convincing yourself that you never cared in the first place. That is not letting go. That is avoidance. Real letting go acknowledges the pain without allowing it to poison you. Bitterness keeps you tied to the past. It keeps the wound alive long after the event is over. When you hold on to resentment, you are still giving energy to the thing that hurts you. You are still allowing it to influence your mood, your mindset, and your future relationships. Letting go without bitterness is an act of maturity. It is choosing peace over being right. It is understanding that not everyone who hurt you intended to destroy you. Some people were simply operating from their own brokenness. That does not excuse the pain, but it explains why holding on to anger does not heal it. Bitterness says, they owe me. Letting go says, I owe myself. You don't let go because they apologized. You don't let go because they changed. You let go because carrying that weight is costing you too much. Bitterness shows up in how you talk, how you love, how you react. It hardens you. And love cannot thrive in a hardened heart. Letting go without bitterness means releasing the expectation that the past should have been different. It means accepting that what happened happened and choosing not to let it define your future. It is not denial, it is acceptance. This kind of letting go is powerful because it puts control back in your hands. You stop waiting for closure from people who may never give it. You stop needing validation from those who fail to value you. You stop rehearsing the pain as if it will change the outcome. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without reliving. It means the memory no longer has the power to disrupt your peace. It becomes a lesson, not a wound. And the moment you let go without bitterness, you create space for something new. Space for healthier love, space for joy, space for growth. Because a heart filled with resentment has no room for what's next. Letting go is not about them anymore. It is about you choosing freedom over familiarity, peace over pain, and healing over holding on, redefining self-worth. When love hurts you deeply, it doesn't just break your heart, it challenges how you see yourself. Somewhere along the way, disappointment starts whispering lies. It tells you that if you were better, more patient, more understanding, more lovable, things would have turned out differently. And if you're not careful, you begin to measure your worth by how someone else treated you. That is one of the most damaging outcomes of heartbreak. Redefining self-worth means taking your value back from places and people who never had the authority to define it in the first place. Your worth was not created in that relationship, and it was not destroyed by its failure. But pain has a way of blurring that truth. When someone you loved didn't show up for you, you may have started shrinking yourself. You lowered expectations. You accepted inconsistency. You told yourself that asking for more was asking for too much. Over time, you stopped seeing yourself clearly because you were too busy trying to be enough for someone else. Redefining self-worth requires unlearning that mindset. It means understanding that love should never require you to abandon yourself. You were not meant to audition for affection or negotiate your value. Real love does not leave you questioning where you stand. If you had to constantly prove your worth, that situation was not a reflection of your value. It was a reflection of its limitations. This process is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront how much you tolerated. It forces you to see that you stayed in situations that hurt you because you didn't fully believe you deserved better. That realization can sting, but it is also empowering. Awareness is the first step toward change. Redefining self-worth is choosing to speak to yourself with kindness instead of criticism. It is no longer replaying the rejection, the silence, the disappointment as evidence of who you are. It is reminding yourself daily that being unloved properly does not mean you are unlovable. When you redefine your worth, you stop chasing validation. You stop needing someone else to confirm what you already know. You become grounded. And when you are grounded, you attract differently, choose differently, and love differently. Learning the lesson, not living in the pain. Pain has a purpose, but it was never meant to be your permanent address. Too many people confuse learning from an experience with reliving it over and over again. They revisit the hurt, replay the conversations, and analyze every detail, believing that if they think about it enough, they'll finally find peace. But peace does not come from obsession, it comes from understanding. Learning the lesson means extracting wisdom without carrying the weight. It means asking yourself, what did this teach me about my needs, my boundaries, my patterns, instead of why did this happen to me? One question leads to growth. The other keeps you stuck. Living in the pain keeps you emotionally anchored to the past. It affects how you trust, how you love, and how you interpret new situations. You start expecting harm even when none is present. You build walls instead of boundaries. You protect yourself so much that you block connection. Learning the lesson allows you to move forward without repeating the same cycles. Every painful experience in love reveals something. It reveals what you ignored, what you settled for, what you need to do differently next time. But if you stay focused on the hurt instead of the lesson, you miss the opportunity to evolve. Pain becomes destructive when it is not processed properly. Instead of sharpening you, it hardens you. Instead of teaching you discernment, it teaches you fear. And fear is not wisdom. Learning the lesson means forgiving yourself for what you didn't know at the time. You made decisions based on who you were then, not who you are now. Growth requires compassion for your past self, not punishment. When you stop living in the pain, you reclaim your energy. You stop giving the past power over your present. The memory may still exist, but it no longer controls your emotions or decisions. It becomes information, not an open wound. The lesson prepares you, it doesn't paralyze you. And when you truly learn from what hurt you, you don't repeat it. Not because you're afraid, because you're wiser. You recognize red flags sooner. You honor your boundaries more confidently. You trust yourself again. That is the difference between surviving pain and being transformed by it. Stepping into a new season of love. After the pain has been acknowledged, after distance has been created, after bitterness has been released, after your worth has been reclaimed, and after the lesson has been learned, there comes a moment that is both exciting and terrifying. That moment is when you realize you are standing at the edge of something new. A new season of love does not begin when someone new walks into your life. It begins when you walk differently into your own life. For a long time, love felt like survival. It felt like proving, enduring, hoping, and holding on. But this season is not about fighting for love. It's about being ready for it. And readiness doesn't come from perfection. It comes from healing. Stepping into a new season of love means you no longer carry your past like a warning label. You stop introducing yourself through your wounds. You stop expecting the next person to pay for the mistakes of the last one. That doesn't mean you forget what you've been through. It means what you've been through no longer leads you. This season requires courage. Not the loud kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that believes again after disappointment. The kind that opens up even when closing off feels safer. The kind that says, I've been hurt, but I'm still willing to love well. Healthy love feels unfamiliar at first. It doesn't trigger anxiety. It doesn't keep you guessing. It doesn't require you to over-explain or overextend. And because of that, you may question it. You may feel tempted to return to what you know instead of trusting what is good. But familiarity is not a sign of alignment. Sometimes it's just a sign of repetition. In this new season, you choose differently because you see differently. You no longer chase potential, you respond to consistency. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. You no longer settle for almost when your heart needs assurance. Stepping into a new season of love also means you stop abandoning yourself for connection. You honor your boundaries without guilt. You speak your needs without fear. You walk away when something does not feel right, not because you're afraid of being hurt, but because you respect yourself too much to stay where you are not valued. This season teaches you that love should feel like peace, not pressure, like safety, not survival, like partnership, not performance. And here's the most important part. You don't rush this season. You don't force it. You don't go looking for love to fill a void. You allow it to meet you where you are whole. Because love found in desperation often repeats pain, but love found in wholeness builds something lasting. When you step into this new season, you understand that rejection is no longer a reflection of your worth, it's redirection. You trust that what passed you by was not meant to hold you. You stop asking why something ended and start thanking life for what it made room for. This season is not about perfection. You will still have moments of doubt. You will still feel echoes of the past. But now you know how to ground yourself. You know how to pause, reflect, and respond instead of react. You know how to choose love without losing yourself. And when love comes again, you will meet it as someone who knows their value, protects their peace, and understands that love should add to your life, not consume it. So as this journey comes to a close, remember this truth. You didn't walk away to be alone. You walked away to be healed. You didn't lose love. You outgrew what could not sustain you. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And the next season of love will not require you to bleed to belong, because you finally learned that you were always worthy of a love that feels like home.